So let's do a tier list on Battlefront 2 Heroes vs Villains maps. Because maps are interesting, right? Maybe just a little bit. I mean, it's not the same to get Yoda at Tatooine that Yoda at Bespin. Just ask Uncle Pops. I feel like all the maps are fine and enjoyable, so this is just personal preference grading, probably not objective at all. Still, I would love to see which are the maps you have the most fun playing in. Mos Eisley, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy, and chairs, and market tents, and just why? Every damn time you get stuck in a chair only to get obliterated by a heartless, soulless gang of cold-blooded sweats. Like, who the hell needs metal cantina chairs under 2 scorching suns on a desert planet? Who? Do you want to get your ass charred? I guess not, but if you manage not to get your balls melted, you will have to deal with the roofs. A rooftop chase or fight is always cool, not so much when the roof has the area of an inflatable pool, and every dodge you make ends up in you landing on some random chair or market tent, which I can't decide which is worse. So, besides being pretty to look at, Tatooine can be a pain in the ass to play heroes versus villains. So, I guess I'm going to give it a D. Jabba's Palace, the top noob nightmare map. First time you land in this strange house, you will soon find it more confusing than a trip to IKEA. You will spend 90% of the match sprinting through bizarre chambers trying to find your team. So I guess it's safe to say that this map is a bit of an acquired taste. But don't worry, after a few matches you will get to know by heart all the little corners of Jabba's slaughterhouse and go straight to make the most of those narrow corridors with trigger-happy Leias or Bosks. Also, Rey is a nightmare here, especially in close quarters, so look out for that. Vader is also very happy here. He doesn't have to run around to show some love to his children with a warm force choke. Because let's be honest, Vader is not made for running. It just doesn't look right to have him running around with those silly animations. So besides being super confusing at first, the only problem I see with this map is that if the opposing team gets ahead very quickly, people in your team most likely will bail out. Which sucks, but it happens a lot here, basically because it's a difficult map for newcomers, so you have to deal with it. Besides that, I think Jabba's Palace deserves a C. Hoth, the Ice World. It has a little bit of everything, but somehow, somewhere, it just gets old pretty quickly. You have plenty of corridors, sledging holes, some sort of cave, and a recreational high ground area for idol blasters or Obi-Wans seeking the high ground. But it's just okay. I mean, it has all the elements the Death Star has, but somehow it doesn't feel as compelling to play here. So, Hoth, you don't deserve the A tier, so you get a B. Kamino, it's an okay map, but the respawn points, the slippery buildings, the whole depressive vibe are just a no. The exterior, it's kinda bearable. The only thing saving this map from getting a lower rating are the indoor areas. Especially this building, with all these thingies that you can use as a way to keep a distance between you and your opponents, or even use them to ambush people. That's a big plus. But can we talk about how clueless were Kaminoans on interior design? What do you do here besides cloning? Judging by that hologram and the screens scattered all around the place, this could be a logistics headquarters. But where are the chairs? I was complaining about the chairs before, but where are they? Are people expected to work standing? Are you telling me the Kaminoans just stand to type emails out? I don't think so. That's why I think this might be an interactive museum for Kaminoan kids to learn about something. I don't know. So going back to the map, it gets a C. Jakku, the graveyard. It's a plus that it usually comes up just before Bespin. If that wasn't the case, I wouldn't stick around for this map as often. It's okay and has a lot of hiding spots, so it's not as you can't get creative at all. It feels like it should be placed above Tripa Hive and Mos Eisley, basically because it feels way more complex than the first one and not so overly complex that you get stuck everywhere. So that's a big plus for me because I hate shares so much with all my might. So a B. Castle, another one of those maps that feels more like a maze than anything else. All the tunnels where you respawn look almost the same, so don't get lost, I guess. The acid puddles are a nice feature, though a pain in the ass at times, especially when you are low health and you end up in them. But besides that, there's not much to say about this map. It's simply okay. It's going to be a D for Castle. Scarif. This map is basically a rectangle with stuff on it, so it feels like a tropical cat litter. Plus, can we talk about how annoying the bushes are? You just get stuck in them all the time. They are like the Mos Eisley chairs. Still, I think that if not for heroes versus villains, this map is quite fine for Hero Showdown. So basically all the maps with flat terrain and not a lot of stuff lying around are good for that. But it's just not a blast to play in here, so Scarif gets an E. Takodana Mass Castle. It's a forest and it looks so cool. Look at all these trees and weird space chickens running around. But it gets boring after a while. It works well in 1v1s, but I have mixed feelings about the trees and the rocks standing in the way in the least convenient moment. So I guess it's going to be a D. Geonosis Tripa Hive. It's just rocks on top of rocks. Do you like rocks? Here are some rocks. It's an okay map, nothing much to say about it, so a D. Iron Claws, it's simply a no. I didn't even remember this map existed till I went through the lobby list to check if I had left anything out, so minus F. Endor. Sometimes it feels good, sometimes it just doesn't. Crazy things can happen here though. Just wait till some people start camping on the walkways and suddenly you are battling blasters and lightsabers and feeling like you are standing on a giant metal ship mast in a slash and buckle movie, fighting for your life, but without having to worry about falling. I mean, you can fall, but you will fall on the ground, which is great. Also, it's a plus that you usually get Kashyyyk after this map most of the time, so Endor gets a C. Kashyyyk. Some people hate this map with all their forces, and I can see why not everybody is built to withstand endless rounds of being ragdolled across Kashyyyk Beach. Like, who designed this? A flying squirrel on psychedelics? Anyhow, if you feel like your humongous walls can generate their own gravitational force to keep your feet on the ground, be my guest. But know that there's little place to hide from thirsty ledgers in Kashyyyk. In other maps with that much aerial traffic, you have covered areas where blasters can camp, masturbate, or do whatever blaster mains do. But here, oh boy, you can literally play basketball with people inside the tree trunk. But mind you, the designers had the audacity to place railings around the holes so that you feel a false sense of security. So when you least expect it, you'll be falling already. So Kashyyyk, it's a B. Geonosis dreadnought. It feels like the worst of the interior cruiser maps, but overall it's okay. You can have interesting matches here. So it's going to be a D+. Takodana MC85 cruiser. This map can put your noob ass off, because the corridors all look the same and they take approximately 70% of the map. So it's a bit of an acquired taste, just as in the case of Jabba's palace. However, once you get to know the ins and outs of this map, it just gets better and better. Force abilities work super well in close quarters. Like, for instance, this is the place to use Maul's force choke. You can wreck people with him in here. So this map really is awesome for all the heroes, balls included. Not so much for Bobas, but who cares about them? So, I guess Takodana deserves to be in A tier. Yavin 4. Feels like when your parents decide to prank you on Christmas when you are 5 and give you an empty PS5 box. Just for the laughs. So it feels on the same level of boredom as Scarif, even though the whole temple vibe is super cool. But we are here to slit people's throats, not to do sightseeing. Still, I would like to point out that the underground tunnel feature is very nice, but most of the time people end up fighting outside, so it doesn't really help to make the match more interesting in heroes versus villains. But no, it's an E. Starkiller Base. It's the same as Yavin 4, plus snow, minus cool temple vibe, so I just hate this map, really. E-. Jakku Resurgent Star Destroyer. I don't even know what to say about this map. Like, seriously, what the hell is this? I really don't know how this space is functional inside any kind of starship that wants to keep its crew from just casually walking into a drop of several hundred meters. But anyway, this is an HBB point of view tier list, I guess. So you can get to like this place if you don't mind being ledged by yourself uncontrollably and without the help of any ray spamming mind trick. So you and you alone will be your worst enemy here. Besides that, I would like to talk about how a competent light side team with a all cheating gang, and that being Obi, Yoda, Luke, and Anakin can very easily take the dark side by surprise in this map. You can definitely take advantage of ledging with the dark side here, but I always find that the way this space is distributed is way more compliant with the kind of force abilities from the light side. So, do you feel the same way or just the complete opposite? I'm just curious about it. And I was going to give this map a D, but because you can order food, and not that you will ever need it, but still they bothered including this feature, I will give it an extra point, just because of the mental picture of a bored developer, feeling hungry and wanting so much a warm, homemade pie that he just had to make one at work. So it's a C. Crait is not that bad. It's simply that it's boring. It's okay for Hero Showdown since you have a considerable amount of even flat terrain with literally no junk getting in your way, like chairs. But you get this map against a competent blasted team, and unless you get someone in yours that can actually aim, and by that I mean to be able to shoot someone more than 3 feet away from you, good luck. So it's an F for Crait. Naboo Palace Hangar. It's a classic. It never gets old. You get the always sleek Naboo Royal Starship, which you can hop on and off. Staircases, corridors with ceilings high as F, and the iconic reactor area from the Phantom Menace. God damn it, you can even recreate the Maul vs Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fight. Wait, only if Qui-Gon was in the game. But yeah, this is one of those maps that probably feels bigger than it actually is. And it never gets old. So it's an A+. Felucia is just a pain in the ass. I don't like this map. I hate it. It's okay for supremacy or whatever, but I just don't like playing heroes versus villains here. It's boring and it's not really interesting, and the uneven terrain, it's a pain in the ass because most of the time force abilities don't work when you use them there. So simply a no. So Felucia gets an F. Fuck you, Felucia. Death Star 2. This is the map. It has everything you could ask for. You have a decent open space with a perfectly placed fog pool to ledge people if required, with corridors on the main level, with multiple entrances so you can ambush, flee or fall into them depending on the situation, and even walkways. So yeah, this is one of these maps that feels bigger than it actually is, and you can do tons of stuff in here. The only setback could be if you play with the balls. That being BB-8 or BB-9E or something like that. I don't remember the name of the black ball. Was it in the movie? I don't even remember anything about those movies. But whatever. So yep. If you play with the balls, people can left you behind pretty quickly simply by jumping into the high ground. So it's not that cool to play with those characters here. Still, I've seen people killing it with them here as well, so it all depends on where you're placed and your own ability, I guess. So, all that said, Death Star 2 gets an A. Even though it's one of my favorite maps, I think it's not in the S tier. It's an A. Maybe an A+. I can give it an A+. And at last we have reached the sweetest, tastiest, yummiest map of them all, Bespin, the paradise of average and pro ledge enjoyers. The only sensation comparable to getting ledge kills here is to throw Senate seats at the Grand Master of the Jedi while laughing uncontrollably. First and foremost, let's clarify something. I find ledging hilarious. I don't mind suffering it, it's part of the game. However, I can see why people find this super annoying, especially when they face players that simply camp to get ledge kills. The kind of players that, once they have used force push or whatever, spend the match running away, waiting for the force abilities to come back, and never really even clashing lightsabers with anybody. Yeah, that can be annoying, so at least to me, if you play following the flow of the match and ledge when the opportunity arises, it should be fine and people should be okay with it. And let's be honest, the falling animations in this game are simply hilarious. Just being ledge is always chaos and loads of fun. In addition, this is one of the reasons Bespin feels like a chess match. Like, you have so much room to be yeeted off the map that you kinda are able to anticipate when, where, and how it's going to happen. So you have to be extra careful to see who might show up around the corner, and pay even more attention to what abilities your opponents have used and capitalize on them. So yeah, it can be a nightmare for blasters, so better keep your ass inside. But by all means, playing inside is equally enjoyable. The most vicious battle can quickly degenerate into an elevator party. Honestly, this map should be illegal because of how much fun it is to play in here. So Bespin definitely S tier. I was thinking about placing other maps in the S tier category, like maybe Death Star 2 on Takodana MC85, but I feel like Bespin deserves to be on a level of its own, like it's the king of the Battlefront to HBB maps in my opinion. I mean, Kashyyyk it's very similar and also Kamino, but the distribution of the elements and everything is not that satisfying to play, I guess. I mean, in Kashyyyk, the space is very cluttered, and in Kamino it's more open, but you cannot really strategize as in the same level as in Bespin. I just feel it's a better design. All the elements are very well placed, and you usually use almost all of the map. I mean, a match can change so quickly, like one time you are inside and then the next minute you are outside, and it's very dynamic. And that's that. If you made it till the end of the video, congrats! You deserve a pie? I don't know.
Would you like some pie?
Massive, massive quantities and a glass of water, sweetheart. My socks are on fire.